welcome to a little cooking vlog. So I had the day off today and I decided, I was like, why not make a cute little at-home date night? So I sat down this morning and kind of decided on what I wanted to cook, and we are definitely going for a seafood theme tonight. So cook date night at home with me. So this is the vibe I'm going for. I picked up, I will adjust the camera once I start like cooking, but I picked up a dozen oysters and I'm gonna do it with kinner or sea urchin. They're the exact same thing, but this is basically preserved in a salt brine and it is incredibly nice on the salty side, as the brine would suggest. I'm going to do a salmon and a tuna tartare. I forgot to tell them to like not cut it, but I'm basically going to dice it from this and then do it with some avocado as well. With the tartare, I've got no idea if these are actually still good, but I feel like, okay, they're not expired. This is rice paper and I'm gonna try and shallow fry it and see if this works. I've seen it so much on TikTok. But I'm going to be really careful because hot oil and me don't have a history of being like solid. These are tart shells. I'm going to try and do a crab and salmon roe kind of tartlet situation. It says that these can be used savory or sweet, so I'm hoping the pastry isn't too sweet, otherwise I think the flavors are going to throw itself off a little bit. And finally in this is a kilo of mussels, so I'm going to cook the mussels in like a tomato kind of sauce. Some of this stuff now I'm going to prep kind of in preparation, and as I'm waving my arms around I might also change into a different top. I think this is not practical for cooking at all changed, and I'm actually going to start on the blue swimmer crab. So if you're in Sydney or Australia, I think as a whole, female blue swimmer crabs are currently in season and they're an absolute favorite of mine. You do have to kind of shop around. Not everyone carries female, and then sometimes, very rarely now I find, but I do meet some people who like work at the fish shops and they don't know how to tell female from male, but Google, it's pretty easy. Now I'm going to do this first because I need to like cook it and then I need it to cool down so I can de-shell all of the meat. So I'm currently waiting for the water to boil so I can pop these in. I picked up two and I'm gonna try to show you as best I can on camera, but basically this part here is the sex organ. So this is what you use to tell gender. So this is female, so it's like very wide and it's like more curved. A male is basically just like a triangle right up. So I feel like Google Images might explain it a little bit better, but that's what you need to look for. So while that's coming to a boil, once I pop this in, I'm actually going to cube this. So this is salmon and this is tuna. I got 100 grams of this and 150 grams of the tuna. Tuna is a bit more of a dense fish, so quantity wise, like weight aside, but the size of the piece that you get is normally less, if that makes sense. Like if you get 100 grams of tuna and 100 grams of salmon, the tuna looks smaller. It's a denser cut of meat. So I'm going to cube this and do like a chunky tartare. So as I was starting to cube this, I was actually kind of glad that they sliced it when I purchased it at the fish market, because even though this is in 2x speed, this part was actually so time consuming as well. So peeling the crab was a relatively quick process because blue swimmer crab doesn't actually have a lot of meat on it. I will say it was definitely a bit hot. I probably should have left it to cool for a little bit longer. So I de-shelled the crab. If you can't tell, blue swimmer crab doesn't actually have a lot of meat, but the meat is like significantly softer and it's not as hard to chew through. Now I'm going to move on to the mussels. So in the most precarious way possible, I have chopped one onion and a lot of garlic, and then I'm gonna pop it into the saucepan here. and kind of bring it to a point where it's like aromatic. While that is cooking away, I don't know how loud that is actually going to be on the camera, but I'm going to chop up some tomatoes. So a lot of recipes will call for diced tomatoes. I prefer fresh. Diced tomatoes normally comes in like a liquid of some sort, so to compensate for that, I'm going to add a bit of tomato paste, some water, and then some stock cubes as well. Now, I was going to do like a full proper scrub clean of them, but I did notice when I was buying them that they actually are pretty clean already, so I'm hoping that like most of the work has been done. But this is a kilo of mussels, and basically, see if I can find one. You want them to look like this. So this is all cleaned and ready to go into the pot. I'm gonna try find one with something on it. Okay, so something like this I would clean. I don't know if the camera picks it up really clearly, but think of like really fine hair. So there's like some sort of moss growing on it. There you go, that's a better view. Obviously you're not going to eat it because it's on the shell, but it's just nicer to not have it in your food. So these need about 7 to 8 minutes to cook. So what I'm going to do is get the sauce kind of a little bit thicker and then just pop these in, and then when Bubs actually gets home, I'm going to turn the heat on back briefly just to kind of warm them up a little bit. It's also worth mentioning that a kilo of mussels is actually a lot. Unlike a lot of other shellfish, these are actually pretty lightweight as they are. So if you're doing it for 2 people and you're actually going to cook other things, a kilo is plenty. And they are also very cheap. I can't speak for like other countries or even other stores, but majority of the time when we get them from the Sydney Fish Market, we get them within the price range of $9.99 a kilo to about $12.99 a kilo. So price wise, they're really, really good and definitely a lot cheaper than a lot of the other seafood options on the market. So what I'm doing now is I'm just popping the mussels into the pot. I've basically taken the largest pot I've got because I need to make sure that I can turn everything and cook all the mussels through. Now, as a side note, I do love filming and cooking. I think this is my second cooking vlog ever, and I would love to film more, but my kitchen is just not built for filming. It is actually so small. My tripod, you guys, are currently next to my bin. Like, it's such a small kitchen. So I would definitely film more if I could and had like the right working angle for it, but yeah, just an unrelated side note. So this is what the sauce looks like before I put the mussels in. It has a nice little simmer on it. Once you do put the mussels in, you kind of have to just toss it around because it's a quick cook. As the mussels are cooking, I'm going to start some of the smaller, like nibbly bits, if that makes sense. So I think I'm going to start with the blue swimmer. I'm just going to add like the tiniest bit of mayo. This is also brand new, so I don't know if they still got a film. So like I said, the tiniest bit of mayo, I think like a teaspoon is how much I'm using. I'm just going to mix it in with the crab, kind of just like this, and then set it aside. Next up is quinoa. I definitely think this is somewhat of an acquired taste, but I would definitely recommend people trying it like at least once in their lifetime. I'm actually going to check on these mussels because I think they've been in there a bit. So I've got a separate saucer that I'm going to put the quinoa that I'm going to use tonight in. So I got a dozen oysters, so depending on the size, anywhere from like 6 to 12 pieces. And I don't think we're going to finish all of it with the oysters tonight, so I want to leave it in the brine. I'm going to try and show you, but that's what it looks like. Like I said, this is definitely a lot saltier than what you would get fresh, because it's in a literal salt bath. I feel like that would be 2 pieces. It's giant. Oh my god. Look at them. So I'm gonna pop the rest of this back in the fridge. I'm pretty sure I've only got like a day to eat it anyway after I've broken the seal. So I'll either have this later tonight or probably tomorrow. This is the sashimi I diced up earlier. I just put it back in the box it came in because I didn't really want to waste. Well, I didn't, not so much waste, but I just didn't want to have to wash more bowls and pots than necessary because I honestly use so much stuff when I'm cooking. It's not even funny. But I'm going to mix this a little bit so it's kind of like, you know, yeah, I'm going to mix it. Into the lid it goes, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a mix just to combine the tuna with the salmon. I'm actually going to wait till Bubs gets home to do the avocado because avocado browns so fast. And I don't know about you, but I like my avocado fresh and not looking like, yeah. There we go, nice and mixed in. Originally I was just going to do a salmon because I know Bubs likes salmon, but honestly I'm not the biggest salmon fan. I always feel like salmon's like where you start in like the sashimi world and then you kind of just leave it because you find other fishes are more interesting, but he seems to have an obsession with salmon, so we're doing combination. This is the final piece. Well, it's actually the top piece. The bottom piece I haven't shown. I think I showed it maybe when I got home. This is the top of the crab tartlets that I'm doing. I don't know if I should crack it now or not. This is a really cute caviar key. I have quite a few of these because like sometimes I get the gift packs from Providores because it's honestly cheaper to buy caviar that way, but every single one comes with one of these, and I've actually given some to friends. It's red caviar. So I honestly have no idea why I cracked that open because I'm gonna shut it and put it back in the fridge. This is Yarra Valley smoked salmon pearls. I wanted to try their truffle. It's truffle season in Australia and they do a truffle infused one, but it only comes in the 25 grams and I don't think 25 is enough for 4 tartlets, so I ended up getting 100. There's probably going to be some left over. I think you have to eat this within like 4 days. Yeah, within 4 days of opening it. So I'm going away tomorrow, so if we don't finish it today, Bob's is going to have to eat it before I come back. Also, I originally wanted to do oysters with sea urchin and dill, but I couldn't find any dill, so I'm going to substitute for parsley because I also need to put this into the mussels as well. So I'm now starting to put everything together in these little clips, but this is the salmon and tuna tartare that I did. I don't own a ring mold of any sort, so this whole process was just a lot of like shaping with my hands to kind of make it cylindrical. Bubs also came home in time, so I didn't have to do this kitchen disaster myself. I now begin putting the tartlets together. I kind of just separated the crab and kind of just went 25%. This is the red caviar that I opened before. As you can see, it's definitely larger than your standard like black caviar or your sturgeon caviar, for example. For the oysters and sea urchin, I went for a little bit of a half-half vibe. So half of them had sea urchin, half of them didn't, so we could just have them like raw with lemon. And that's everything minus the mussels.